Hi, welcome to the 1 Liter Podcast. You will watch us drinking 1 liters of beer whilst talking about shies. Please like and subscribe. Welcome to the 1 Liter.
Prost.
Prost.
Lost.
Yeah, there we go.
As you can hear, we have a special guest today. So,
Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Yep. My name's Adam. I'm soon to be 26 and have had the great privilege of knowing Mr. Geet for about 8 months now.
It's been 8 months, eh?
great privilege.
Fuck,
yeah,
time flies, man.
Yeah. We work together, but we won't talk about that.
No.
We don't talk about that. What we should talk about is our diverse range of drinks here. Because I've got the German beer, you've got the
Kilkenny. A
Kilkenny's.
poor man's Guinness.
Poor man's Guinness.
And Joel, what would you happen to have in that stein?
I have the Maxwell Mead, which is Scandinavian with a touch of Kilkenny in there as well.
Touch of Kilkenny. Look
It's
at
like-
that.
A good old European mix, as they say.
Look how close that looks to a beer. It's like almost the exact same. We've witnessed the Joel drinking the mead before. It was a fun time.
Yep. Sober as a bird. Nothing could faze me. So, it is a muggy Saturday.
It is very muggy.
What is it, the 29th of April? Yep. You've just been golfing.
I have indeed.
In the rain.
Did you get pissed on?
I would say intermittently we did.
Mm-hmm.
Conditions were quite interesting, tumultuous,
Mm-hmm.
but managed to pull together a decent round.
Nice, dude.
Nice.
Did you slay?
As much as one can on the golf course.
Do you guys take a buggy or you just walk it?
We always walk.
Nice.
We always walk, and it's usually frowned upon for us youthful individuals to get in a buggy. Plus, it costs $40 extra to hire it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
True.
So you're walking.
It's we got legs. May as well use them.
That's right.
Oh.
We use the arms to hold the golf clubs.
Mhm.
In case you didn't understand how golf works.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, exactly.
There you
I
go.
was literally about to say that because I'm probably the newbiest with golf here. I appreciate that you, Joel, you just like, I don't really play, but I've played plenty of times. I'm like, yeah, I've been on a green. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen Happy Gilmore.
I have not.
So we should just cut him out
I think so.
and just keep it like this.
I think tonight's just going to be roast Phil on the movies he hasn't seen or something.
No,
I
we
feel
can't
like
do
that's
that.
We can't do that straight away.
If you deliberately,
maybe this far through.
if you went out of your way to not watch them, then we'd have to roast you. But if you're open-minded, then it's just a matter of time.
The fact that you have gotten this far in your life without watching Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
is
Look, and
a feat in and of itself.
I get, that's a big misunderstanding that I get roasted for all the time, where people are like, what do you mean you don't like Lord of the Rings? I'm
Help
like,
me, help me understand it.
Yeah, how is it a misunderstanding?
Make it make sense.
What aren't they
I
understanding?
don't not like Lord of the Rings. I just have not sat down and watched the 3 giant movies.
You haven't put
because I
yourself
wasn't
in a
interested enough.
You haven't put
to-
yourself in a position to like it.
That's correct.
But you're saying from what you've seen, you would enjoy it, you think?
I definitely think I would. Like it and they're great films by all the reviews and people that have seen them.
Can't
so-
trust reviews, Philip.
No.
That's correct. That's why I still have my doubts, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Mm.
Otherwise, I'll get a roasting. So even if it's not fine, I'll probably pretend that it was fine.
Mm.
No, I really did. Yeah, Gandalf. Yeah,
Adam,
he was great.
Yes. Thank you, Philip. Adam, Phil and I, because for those who don't know Adam, he's Jewish. And Phil and I were like, because things in the spotlight are always Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism and stuff, but you never really, it's not really commercialized Judaism. So one thing I saw recently on YouTube, which was random, someone said the reason why Jewish populations, let's say in the Midwest, for instance, are so successful is because this is how the person broke it down. I can't remember who it was. It might have even been a Jewish celebrity. They said, if there's a Jewish community and a Jewish man opens up like a tailor, for instance, everyone will come and buy from him. And even if there are other stores that do what he does for cheaper, they'll still go through him. Is that true?
I would say so. There's a big emphasis on community support, togetherness, and supporting others in the community. It's pretty much integral to who we are as Jews. It's not religiously mandated, but it's just the way we've culturally evolved. For an example for you would be, let's say, I mean, when I had grandparents who passed away, we didn't have to cook a meal at home for almost a month because people would just come and they'd drop meals. They'd say they're going through a lot of stuff. They shouldn't have to worry about this. We support them.
That's lovely.
And in the
That's
same
beautiful.
way, we have supported other people. So I'm not the most religiously observant person, but I think the community is a very attractive feature of being Jewish. And it's certainly something I'm quite proud of. And something I would like to keep going.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I'd
Definitely.
say whatever you saw on YouTube
Mm.
would probably be quite correct.
Oh, that's good.
That's cool.
One thing that I'm very much like, I like to preserve Australiana, not in a racist way, never a racist way. Like I love multiculturalism and I like how people can come over to this country and embrace that. But one thing that I'm almost extremely dedicated to in the same sense as you is like something that's attractive is obviously like Anzac Day, because I had family members who served in the war. And I think I said this on a podcast one time. I remember being like year 2, and even then I was super observant of these things. And I remember sitting there and we had to do the minute silence, and these 2 kids who were sitting next to me were like talking, and I was like, oh, shut the fuck up. Like I was like, that's always been my mentality around that. And the fact that you see people even to this day getting up in the dawn services is like stacked full of people.
Yeah.
Martin Place is where they have the ceremony. It's nice. It's comforting to know that we're still, celebrating those who fought for us and stuff. So that's kind of like, that's my kind of thing. Like, so that's my personal thing. So your thing is like, I can totally appreciate where you're coming from as well. Like,
I think whenever a great community of people, great in numbers, have been through a collective event, such like everything in Jewish history or Gallipoli in the war, those who come after them develop an appreciation for how their community was formed. And obviously, that was very formative for Australians and the country in general. So there's still a great appreciation for that now. Even on the golf course last weekend, 11 a.m. on Sunday. Well, no, Tuesday actually, because it was Tuesday this year. 11 a.m., siren went, and you hear the last post. Everyone's standing, observing a minute's silence. Regardless of what's happening, everything stops, and we take a moment to remember them.
love it.
Yeah.
I love that. And man, look, I couldn't, I mean, again, like I wish when someone says to me, oh, would you like being immortal? 90% of people you speak to will be like, no, fuck that. I'd never want to be immortal. See my family dying. No. Me, I probably would choose immortality, not so I could see flying cars, which would be awesome. My thing would be hold myself up in a football field sized mansion / library and just read every single book I can throughout eternity. Like just read. And if you're reading books for that long, 300 years straight, for example, you could just pick up a book and like somehow you'd evolve to be able to just like ingest that information super quick. But I don't know too much about other cultures and what they've been through, but from what I do know is like what the Jews of the persecution you guys have suffered since the dawn of time is like, that would make that society fucking ironclad, you know?
Yeah.
Can we just touch on your wish here of being immortal?
I was going to mention that for a second.
Because like 300 years is far from immortal. Like that is going to be like a 1 second thing if you're talking immortality. You're going to live to the end of time.
But I'm saying by the 300-year mark, I feel like I could just smash through books. I was being generous because like...
Then what?
Because he can read. He can read quick.
This guy can read.
Oh, bro.
Then what are you doing?
Sky's the limit, whatever the fuck I want. If I'm immortal, I could probably get sucked into the vacuum of space and just float around for trillions of years until I find a planet, you know?
Oh, so you're saying like you don't want your body to just be able to live forever. You want to be able to not be killed by any external forces.
Well, immortal's immortal. Like, you can say, "Oh, this
It's
person's
true, yeah.
immortal," but you chop their head off. Like, there's the rules. So I don't know. It was just generalization.
My question in there is, if you were reading for that long of a period of time, how much of that information would you actually retain?
Well, again, the idea of immortality is almost like unfathomable. So it'd have to be some level of magic, and I'm assuming there would be a degree of information retaining and youth of the physical form and cell regeneration. So I don't know. Again, it was just like a playful observation, I suppose.
Imagine
But they
Joel,
do say-
the almighty wisdom guy. He's just like, I know everything.
Human encyclopedia.
It's funny that you asked that, Adam, because retaining information is like one of your specialties.
So
It's
I've been
fucking
told.
crazy, Joel. This guy. Do you know the New York? Is it New York Times as well? The ones
Yes.
that do Wordle. They do a mini crossword every day. So it's like a 5x5 square mini crossword, and it times you how quickly you can do it. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do this, and I get like regularly maybe 2.5 minute averages, and sometimes it just blows out because I can't think of the word. What is your average time?
I would average it at about 34 seconds.
34
Nice.
seconds to do a 5x5 mini crossword.
Nice, man. That's
Yeah.
cool.
That's fucking mind blowing. I'm just like, how does your brain just link all these things with these little clues? And you're just like, yep, that works, that works, that works. I can't even
Do you-
type
do
the
you
words
read a
in
lot,
34
Adam?
seconds.
True.
No. I'd call it a gift of sorts where I can't bring up random information on demand, but if I hear things, I spend a lot of time watching TV, documentaries, history, food, culture, everything
Do you watch Jeopardy?
from time to time. Rest in peace, Alex Trebek.
Alex Trebek. Out of 5 questions asked, how many do you get right?
Comfortably.
Yeah.
3, not including literature.
Right.
Right.
I'm usually about 2 out of 5. So that's good. We should watch Jeopardy. We should do like an online Jeopardy
We should
challenge
do
where like
trivia.
questions pop up.
We should do trivia. If you're good at
100%.
trivia, he's good at trivia.
Bro,
I'll just ride the wave.
I fucking love trivia. Yeah, ride the wave of success. You're just the fucking pretty boy. He pops his top off.
I'm one of those fucking just like the manager at a workplace. I'm just like, yeah, this is all me. This is my team. Yeah.
at the poster boy.
You guys are just like, I'm like, 7. Like, Phil, this is a. They're
Use the
asking what
6.
book. Yeah, use the 6. Shit.
No, that's cool, man. Fucking, that's really good. That's awesome.
It's one of my pride and joys is the completion of the mini crossword.
Mm.
Been accused of cheating this week by a friend of mine.
This week.
This week.
Which
this
one?
very week.
Let me.
This very goddamn
No,
week.
not on a specific mini, but just he couldn't understand how I had completed it so quickly.
How do you?
It is all about the methodology.
I don't understand it either. Explain.
The clues are probably anywhere up to, 9 words.
Mhm.
If I read the clue and I don't know it instantly, I move on.
Mhm.
People mull over them. There's a maximum of 10 clues in the normal mini crossword. If you can get 5 of those instantly, you piece them together enough letters to be able to connect the dots with the other clues.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as I don't know something, I move on.
Immediately.
I don't
yeah.
think about it.
Mm.
I don't worry about it.
I don't worry about it.
I'm not worried about it. So, what about the Saturday one? The Saturday one's a bigger one. So, my mum, I think the quickest she's ever done it was today, which was 2 minutes 21. Have you done it?
I have done it.
Yeah, I've done
I
it.
have done
Here
it.
we go.
So the Saturday is a 7x7. Slightly more complicated. I can confirm for you both that I completed the mini crossword in 55 seconds.
Nice,
55.
dude.
That
What was
hurts me, man.
what
I
was the
don't think
topic?
I could read the clues in 55 seconds. I'm a slow reader.
What if they were written in German?
No,
Mhm.
worse.
Good question.
I'd be deciphering words. I'm not that fluent.
Lieber.
Yeah, Leberkässemmel. That's one word. Yeah.
Bill, I have a question for you now.
Yes, please.
Are you familiar with Schnappi?
Das kleine Krokodil? Yeah, of course.
I don't know.
Schlapp, schlapp, schlappi.
I don't understand why
Isn't-
he belongs in a core memory of mine,
Mhm.
but he does. He is there for some reason.
Have you been tortured before? Or?
Not to my knowledge.
Apparently, that song has been used for torture methods. Like they just play it on repeat.
Do you know what would be a torture method used against me? Would be that fucking what are those talking unicorn pony things?
Charlie the unicorn.
I would be like, please put a bullet in my head. Like I can't handle that shit. I hate that stuff. Yeah. I remember that thing. Yeah.
I think it went viral.
Oh yeah, big time.
It was probably while I was still in primary school, but I just recalled it the other day, and I'm like, oh, Phil's German. He might remember this from his childhood.
How old was it? I thought it was like early 2000s.
I don't know it from being German. I know it from it being viral. So that I'm gonna
interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna excuse myself of that knowledge because of me being German.
Yeah.
Should we? I want to do like a little bit more serious talk.
Do you have a Phil's Fun's fact?
Oh, yeah, of course I have a Phil Fun.
How did we get about 10 minutes without that?
I know, right?
Well, it's guest, we got carried away. There's
I'd appreciate
golf to be spoken about.
if you could put a graph. I'd appreciate a graphic with Phil's Fun Fact, all using PHs.
Yeah, a graphic
or just
and we kind of want to do a jingle.
Yeah, Phil's Fun Fact.
Phil's Fun Fact.
It's got to work like that.
Phil's
Fun Fact. Let me pull it up for you, boys. Did you know that you know this, for Tarzan, the Tarzan film, when they made it in German, Phil Collins learned all the lyrics to the songs in German and recorded them in German as well. So there is a German version of all the Tarzan songs with Phil Collins singing them with decent pronunciation.
That's awesome.
I don't know if you intended to go all meta on us with a Phil's Fun Fact about another Phil.
Yeah. Can I just say, when I was studying acting and we were doing voice lessons, we had to train voice as well. I remember because I say like, oh, it's Friday. You get F, right? But we were taught to say it's Friday. Pop the F. Phil's Fun Facts, not Phil's Fun Facts.
Oh, yeah.
And another thing, this blows my mind because my teacher was an American teacher, Charles. He was this African-American dude, legend. One of the words in our so we were studying American accents. And it was like, slowly the ocean rolled over. So we had to learn how to open our vowels and whatever. And one of the words was clawing, C-L-A-W-I-G, like clawing.
Oh, yeah.
We say clawing, right? I'm clawing to get out.
As if there's an R in it?
Yeah, but it's clawing. That's how he said it. I'm clawing out. And to this day, I'm like, I refuse to say clawing. It's clawing.
Clawing.
There's an R in there. You just can't see it.
Exactly, yeah. It's a secret vowel, yeah.
I've noticed that with films, though. I bet they make you pronounce words more prominently or something. Like, when you see, we've spoken about this before, I think, when you see Australian actors or a character that is meant to be Australian and you start hearing them talk, you're like, that's not Australian. What the fuck is he talking? And then you're like, oh, okay, it's because I've been listening to all the other actors do their perfect Californian American, and now you hear this Australian, you're like, why does it sound weird? Yeah, mate, yeah, nah.
I think the biggest thing is like when a perfect example is like Hugh Jackman. I always just pick up on Hugh Jackman's as like Americans.
Oh, massive.
Americans, not all of them, but they have a higher inflection when they talk. So if I was to say, I'm going to the toilet, they'd say, I'm going to the toilet. There's more of a higher, ours is we talk in the back of our throat, they talk through their nose. So when you hear, like, I'm going to shoot this gun right now and kill you, motherfucker, or whatever. But then you hear Hugh Jackman's like, I'm going to shoot this gun and kill you, motherfucker. It's still in the back of his throat. Yeah. He doesn't put it in the nose. And that's how I can always tell an Aussie's doing.
And it feels so manly.
Yeah.
Like whenever
that's probably
you
why
say,
they love us. That's why that's why Aussies get fucking big guy roles, right?
I feel like whenever you like put on an Aussie accent, you try and sound more manly. You're like, yeah, mate, we're going to go down to the fishing hole tomorrow and we're going to catch our own food.
Yeah, it's a good bit of timber right here. Yeah.
The fishing hole.
Yeah, the fishing hole, mate. Yeah.
The old spit.
The dam? I don't know. Everyone's got a dam on their farm, right? Farm. Now I'm a fucking New York and Australia.
That beer's disappearing quickly.
Like, just coming back to that, for those listening, that is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That would be like me doing doing the song for a Bollywood film and then me going, like actually singing the song with the
without knowing the language.
Absolutely.
Like he has no idea what he's saying. They're just like, here's the translated version. Here's how you pronounce it. And you would have had lessons on how to sing that in a German voice.
Did he do that in any other language?
I have no idea. And
Tune in next week to find out.
Tune in next week on Phil's Fun Facts. But the only reason I know, well, not the only reason, but how we found out is because we would watch Tarzan in German because we are German. And my mum was like, how the hell did they get a singer to sound just like Phil Collins for the songs in the German version? Because like the German people know that Phil Collins sang the soundtrack for Tarzan in the English, but Germans like to translate everything in a film. Like they don't just keep an English song and then translate the voices. They want everything to be German so that you can have context. And I've showed this to Joel several times. Germans do dubs really well. Like you watch dubs from other languages and it's flat. Like they don't have actors that get into it. Whereas Germans, they're yelling. They're yelling in that mic booth.
Underratedly, quite a passionate people.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, they get a lot of shit for being emotionless, but like, bro, I'd love to watch SpongeBob in German. It'd be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it would be.
Ich glaube nicht reingeleitet.
I've seen the clip from one of the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah. In German?
Where he does the big Expecto Patronum dubbed in different languages. And I can say that the German one was certainly the most compelling.
Really?
It's kind of lyrics.
Something like that. I love it.
The only thing I'm sad about is like when I was growing up, I was watching Arnold Schwarzenegger movies in German, and obviously you don't get any of his accent in the voice because they just get a normal German dude.
Lame.
To
How would
translate
you feel about him as an Austrian? Do you feel a sense of national pride for Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I really enjoy seeing older clips of Arnold with like his gym buddies and he starts talking Austrian and I can understand it because it's basically German. I'm like, and he could speak German because it's very similar language. So you hear him speaking. Oh, wasn't it with Franco? He would talk German to Franco because they both
Franco
knew German.
He's like an Italian dude, but he knew German. Yeah. Here's my thing. You've got Germany, and then you've got like Austria and Hungary and stuff, and they're obviously not a part of Germany, but they speak like an offshoot of German. My thing is like, if you boil it down, surely they've got to be like, oh yeah, our cousins. They're our cousins. They're practically the same as us, right? Would they look at them the same as how we look at people from Tasmania? Because Tasmanians are Australians through and through.
I wouldn't say so, based on what I believe most people say about Tasmania.
Inbred, like, yeah. But like, so could we then consider Germans would consider people from Austria or Hungary to the same that we consider people from Tasmania? Like, you're there, we speak practically the same language, you've got the same heritage, but you're not us.
I feel like that comparison is better made with Italy and then Sicily below it.
Yeah.
Sicily being the Tasmania of
Italy.
Or like Macedonia, right? Like Macedonians are like originally Greek, but now it's all Slavic and shit, right?
Yeah. That's a really great point though, because it's very strange that in Europe you have all these countries and you're speaking different languages, but they're basically closer than we are to any of our other states even. So when we talk about Tasmania, like Tasmania is way further away than Germany is from France, for instance. Like if you were in New South Wales or Queensland or Northern Territory, that's a way further distance, and you're still like, no, same country. And Europe is like, we're all in Europe, but different countries, and we'll fight each other.
Are you a history buff? Do you like history?
I quite enjoy history.
My man.
At school I was I did every history subject available.
Nice.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Back in high school, history was my favorite subject. I'd take history over PE any day.
My God.
But the last 3 years of high school, so 8 and 9, I did history religiously, and then 10, 11, and 12, the classes were always full, and I could never do it. One was that history was fun, but two, we had an English history teacher called Mr. West. He was Canadian. The dude was the man.
I remember Mr. West.
You'd sit in the front seat and he'd spit. You could projectile see it because he was so enthusiastic. Oh, he'd draw a big broadsword on the board. Okay, this is the broadside, all right. So when the Castoregians fought the Pikes back in, and like he's spitting and you're just sitting there getting sprayed, but you're loving it because he's so enthusiastic, right? So boisterous.
Build the immune system.
Here's the thing. So recently, like I'm a huge fan of like Dracula and all that stuff. Who loves and doesn't love like Bram Stoker and stuff? And Vlad Tepes, Vlad the Impaler, Transylvanian. They were obviously fighting the Turks, and when you look at old images of like Transylvanians and those kind of areas, you're like, why the fuck do they look like Mongolians? Like they've got the big garments with the fur, and the pointy shoes, and you're like, what the fuck? But then you realize when Genghis Khan and his crew when the Mongolians were conquering half of Asia and then a bit of Europe as well, they settled around there. So that's why there's a lot of influence. It's fascinating how everyone just influences each other and all that works. Do you think if Africa was somehow connected to Europe, Africa would have probably been a bit more up to scratch when it came to socio-political issues and living conditions and stuff. Obviously, they didn't have the best trade. Like living in the Sahara, you don't have trees and things and etc. But
we've got a South African here.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. Like when you think about like when slavery was an issue, when they got there, all they saw was like savages running around with sticks and cloths over their genitals, right? But then you go to Europe and they've got carriages, they've got muskets, they've got trade with other European countries, etc. And spice and opium and all that shit. So my consideration was the fact that there wasn't a lot of resources and for things for Africa to be progressive with was a reason why they weren't, they didn't have vehicles and the kind of infrastructure and technology that the rest of Europe did. Because obviously Europe is just a boiling pot of cultures and everyone's trading and stuff, and that's how Yeah. Would you agree?
I would probably differ on a few things within that. So I'd say at the time, let's say when the Romans were running the world, so to speak, North Africa was quite prosperous.
Carthage and stuff, yeah.
Carthage, all the way down West Africa as well. I mean, moving forward a few 100 or 1,000 years, you had the Mali Empire with their one king, Mansa Musa, was supposedly
the richest man
who ever lived.
He was like a trillionaire or something like that?
He basically destroyed the economy when he went on a pilgrimage because he gave out so much gold.
Yeah.
It ruined every village and town that he went into.
Where did they go wrong after him?
That's crazy.
Because he would have built trade, he would have had hospitals, he would have had schools, right?
Yeah, he would have had a very, very prosperous society. But the issue, I would say, everything was all well and good until the European powers started slicing up the pie that was Africa and colonizing it. So when
that was before World War I or just after World War II?
It was anywhere from the 17th to the 19th century. And I would say that you mentioned the slave trade, when whoever, I don't know, came to capture slaves, they were fully formed societies. They weren't savages, so to speak. They had communities, they had cities, they had universities, and they were just overrun by a stronger power.
Right.
So it's not that they were walking into... I mean, I'd say further south in Africa, it was probably more tribal, more primitive. But
the West Africans who were predominantly put into slave trade were from more forward thinking,
I would say so.
Societies. That's even worse.
A lot of them.
That's even worse, dude. That's like. And that's the fucked up thing as well. Sorry, go on.
The whole of North Africa was a part of the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah.
As well, moving forward. And they were whizzes in math, science, art, architecture, everything. So they had that culture established. But when you've got British people coming down with guns, and what are you going to do? You've got their military coming down, ripping people away from their families.
That was the whole issue, wasn't it? Yeah. It was like a timing thing of inventions. Like the British just invented this thing.
Industrial Revolution.
That was just so much more powerful than anything they had to defend themselves with, that they had no chance. Like the British would just walk in a line and just be like, yep, reload their guns and boom.
Possibly
Next
the
minute,
most.
the guy next to you's got his head exploding, and you're like, oh, I see.
Props to the Zulu though. The Zulu fucking went hard.
Mhm.
Like I love
Yeah.
Rorke's Drift, like all that shit. Like there's dude, the Zulu were like, you know, they were like, fuck you, I'm gonna come at you with like a piece of wood and like cow skin and a fucking spear.
Yeah,
And they fucking did very well.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is honourable, but in the overall grand scheme of things, they obviously couldn't
Sustain it.
surpass the
This is why I'm so fascinated by the Roman Empire, is because obviously the Mongolians and the English had far larger empires, were stretch like their influence over the planet, of the countries over the planet. But the Romans had the longest lasting empire. And what I've read is that they're like, you always see in the movies like the British or the Germans or the like the Gauls, which are like modern day France, were always rioting in the movies. But they looked at like, and they did the history. Every new generation there would be an uprising. Like maybe every 20 or 30 years there'd be an uprising, and that was instantly quashed. And then after that it'd be peace again. And everyone thrived under Roman rule. Again, like it's like, you know, subjugation, taxes, all that stuff. It fucks with everyone, but who doesn't have to live with fucking taxes, right?
because you want your society to.
I didn't realize this until recently, and I'm a huge history guy. I didn't realize that the Dark Ages started when the Roman Empire fell. That's crazy. Because once that influence and that stability fell, everyone was like, well, fuck you, I'm in charge. No, I'm in charge. Boom, boom, boom. I love it. I don't love it because it's horrible, but I love that I've just...
But you love that history,
I'm linking the chain, yeah.
And I think that the Roman Empire would have flourished, and you would appreciate this as an actor, because they were big on culture, big on the arts, big on society and building a society that enjoys things. And the only reason I'm not too sure of this for certain, but they end up growing and growing and growing. I mean, the main Roman Empire fell, I think, in the 4th century, but the Eastern Roman Empire, or the Byzantine Empire, continued for well into the next millennium.
It did, yeah.
And it only, I believe it only failed, or one of the reasons would be that the main Roman Empire is that it just got too big to govern.
It's true.
They couldn't police and enforce the society they wanted, so all these little factions probably started popping up.
Yeah. They stretched themselves too far, and then a lot of infighting with these. The whole monarchy thing about Roman empires just became ridiculous. Every 3 years they get a new one, or a guy would be the Roman emperor for 2 months, and then he'd get killed and replaced, and it was just this and that and this and that, and it was just, by the end of it, they were getting non-Roman citizens. Someone who was like they had an African emperor at one point. They were getting people from Spain, like Trajan was a Spaniard. Or probably from Italian stock, but his, you know, the way he governed and lived his life and grew up is like probably not by complete Roman standards. But, you know.
It's still fascinating to me. So it's the longest lasting empire, which was how long roughly?
400 or 500 years?
I don't know how it compares to the Egyptian empire.
Because we don't know too much about that.
That predated everything.
Yeah.
Egypt was fucking... Egypt was lit, man.
That's a fascinating topic.
I think you got a fact here.
I don't have a fact, but I got a question I ask every new person. But give me a fact. What do you got?
I believe that the Egyptian empire was so old that they ended up having their own archaeologists.
Wow.
Because their culture stretched back so far.
Well, we've come to the conclusion recently that perhaps the Egyptians didn't even design, and this might be a bit of an insult to... Because I know, look, here's another thing I want to ask a Jewish person as well. We are led to believe that Jewish slaves but helped build the pyramids, right? It wasn't Jewish?
No.
What is it that the Jewish...
The pyramids were built by volunteers.
Right.
I believe about 20,000 of them. They were so privileged to be a part of building the Pharaoh's great tomb. The Jews, when they were slaves in Egypt, built storehouses.
Right, okay.
For grain and other
How do you
supplies.
feel about 40 years traveling the desert? Like, that seems pretty... Again, this isn't about poking holes in people's religions, but this is like, let's talk about this.
So the 40 years thing comes because...
Do you know this, Phil?
No, I was literally about to butt in because can you explain this 40 years thing?
Moses led the people through the desert for 40 years, the Jewish people, to find their new home. This is after they escaped Egyptian... prosecution.
Is it going to be too long to like explain where Judaism started? Is that going to be way too long?
No,
Because
no.
I'm completely
We can get to that if you want.
I'm
but
completely virgin on this information.
For the
I
purposes
am too, for the most part.
For the purposes of this question, we'll start. So we're all aware Moses parted the Red Sea. Jews went through it, came back.
Watch Christian Bale, Joel Edgerton,
Gods of Egypt. No, that's
Gods and
the guy who plays Jaime Lannister.
Yeah,
Gods
yeah,
and
yeah.
Exodus, Gods and
Exodus,
Kings.
Gods and Kings. Yeah, Exodus. Yeah, it's a good film. Simply did not want her arm lopped off. Yeah. So basically, Moses was a Jewish child, and was it around the time it was like kill every firstborn son? Was that it? And then they had to put him in the basket.
Yep. So I'll give Phil a bit of background here, which
up.
is quite fitting because we've just celebrated Passover earlier this month.
Exactly. That's why I'm like so
And
intrigued.
I don't know if you two are familiar with the film The Prince of Egypt.
No.
Of course.
Val Kilmer. I'm pretty sure it's Val Kilmer.
Old Disney.
Yeah.
Prince of Egypt was the locust, the frogs, and the blood in the Nile.
Yeah, with a nice soundtrack and
Oh, dude,
and
I
all
fuck with that. Yeah, yeah. I think on my father's side, my grandmother, I think her side might be Jewish as well. I think that's like a thing in running our family.
Yeah.
A
So-
little bit of a taste for it. Yeah, no, go on.
So that 40 years wandering in the desert is because once the Jews got through the parting of the sea and everything, they get to a mountain called Mount Sinai where Moses went up and he received the Torah, the 2 tablets and the 10 commandments and everything from God.
You know about that? So Moses went. Hang on. We'll start off first. So there was a prophecy for the Egyptian pharaoh that a Jewish child would rise up and overthrow his fucking rule, right? So the Egyptian guy sent his soldiers to go down there and kill every firstborn child.
Jeez.
And so this
Simple solution.
I don't know her name. What was her name? Moses' mother?
Yochebed.
Yochebed. She took Moses, put him in a basket, and then led him down the Nile, and which he was eventually found by the queen,
Pharaoh's daughter.
the Pharaoh's daughter, who took him in, and then the Pharaoh himself took him in and raised Moses as one of his own. So Moses was basically the stepbrother of the Prince of Egypt. And they were together, and then long story short, Moses bailed on the Egyptian family, did his thing, liberated the Jews from Egypt, from the Pharaoh's rule. Well, they were escaping. The Pharaoh's whole mob was pursuing them. He parted the sea, literally parted the sea. They crossed the sea, folded back over, went on into the desert, got an image from God. You could call it God.
Yep. So I would say that after the parting of the Red Sea, they moved on to Mount Sinai, where Moses, the people were instructed to wait at the bottom. Moses went up the mountain to receive the 10 Commandments and the Torah, which is our scriptures.
Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not have impure thoughts about one's neighbor's wife or something. Thou shalt not kill. The 10 Commandments written on tablets.
Are you not familiar with the 10 Commandments? This might be worse than not knowing some movies. This might be worse than the Lord of the Rings thing.
Dude, our society this day is pretty much governed from ancient laws.
Ah, yes. I know all about this.
So,
do you think, here's my question, did Moses part the Red Sea using the same technology they used to carry the rocks for the pyramids?
Let's get back to this real quick.
Let's get back to the story.
What I
of
was going to
Judaism
say is
first.
Phil and I both came to a kind of like that could be the case, is that the Egyptians built their society around the pyramids. The pyramids were there before them.
Oh, yeah, that is a theory, yeah.
Yeah, so, because like, let's not speculate for the sake of speculating, but we all know, like, even with the best technology ever, like getting 20,000 people to lug stones up.
Should we get Adam's take on it? Because we've both voiced our opinions.
Go on then.
How were the pyramids built? As far as you know.
Vibrations.
as far as I know, quality masonry.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where professionals are like, this is impossible. There's no way, because is it the Great Pyramid it's called? That one pyramid has like over 1 million of these ginormous rocks that would have just
I know.
taken way too long to do anything with.
I
and
marvel.
manipulate.
I marvel at the renovations of the escalators at Central Station. When I look at the pyramids, that it's unbelievable.
Exactly.
Yeah, Central
It's like,
Station.
holy shit.
Have you seen?
How did they dig this tunnel?
Do you know the meme of I've never watched The Walking Dead, but do you know the meme? He's like, "Quit trying to act like you know where we are. We're lost, man." Have you seen that meme?
Yeah.
It's someone superimposed that in Central Station. It's like, "Quit acting like you know where we are. We're lost." Because Central Station's a fucking maze. I expect the fucking Minotaur to come out and start trampling people. Like. All right, here's my question. Here's a question I ask everyone. Now, let me break it down so you know details, right? I ask every new person here because it's fascinating. No questions asked, no taxes, no going to get arrested by the IRA, nothing like that. No questions asked, completely free. Right here, right now, you pull your phone out. I'm going to say $50 billion in your account. No questions asked, no repercussions. It's there. I ask you this question. I don't want, in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or I'm going to do this. I want to do this and help my family. No. I'm saying right here, right now, you pulled out your phone. You had $60 billion in your account. What is the first thing you would do? Right here, right now. You're in this room with us. Would you order more drinks? Would you, obviously after you cry and shit your pants, after that's over, would you? So
it's verified.
Would you call a helicopter right now or a limo and say we're going straight to fucking Italy? We're gonna go eat croissants in France. Like, what's the first thing you would do?
With caviar.
Do you need time to think
Joel,
about it?
let me tell you for a second about this sandwich shop in Surrey Hills. The first thing I am doing is putting in an offer for that operation.
You're gonna buy the place?
I'm buying that
but
sandwich
you're gonna
shop.
let them.
They do business as usual.
Thank you. Most people beat around that fucking question for so long.
I know we didn't want to talk about work, but I have preached this place to our entire office.
What kind of sandwiches are we talking here? What kind of sandwiches?
Sandwiches.
Are we talking like subs?
No. Rolls,
either or.
sourdoughs, white bread. The perfect sandwiches. Quick, delicious,
Delicious.
affordable.
Bro,
That is an operation. $60 billion in my account. I would like to be a part of that enterprise.
Fuck yeah. We need to get a film of you talking about it as suavely as you can and then message them guys and be like, hey guys, we've got a commercial for you. Here's what we've written. Can we promote your fucking sandwich shop? Just let us have some shares in it.
The craziest thing is they don't need the promotion.
They don't.
They don't need it.
Because it's really don't.
Is it usually like a line?
I'd say the line is usually in excess of 40 people.
You're
And
joking.
you get
On
from,
any given
from
time.
the
Have
back
you
of
been
the
there?
line.
Yeah.
And it's good?
Yeah.
From the back of the line, you could have a sandwich in your hand within 10 minutes.
Can we go
Yeah.
to
we
the
gotta
sandwich
go.
shop?
We gotta go.
What's it
If
called?
anybody stops you, call the cops.
All right. Or what's it called?
It is called City Edge.
City Edge. And is it like a hole in the wall or is it like a big establishment?
It's a hole in the wall.
Like,
But
are they
it-
like Turkish people? Who runs
You're
it?
ordering through a window.
Legends.
Hole in the wall.
Legends.
They're legends.
Legends.
Yeah.
And then you're waiting outside on the curtain. The sidewalk of the street
Right.
for your sandwich, and then they call your number or your name.
your
actually,
name.
your name, very personalized, and you collect your sandwich, and then you walk away and you eat it.
Yeah.
Do you like Seinfeld?
I'm quite fond of Seinfeld.
My man. Do you know like the soup Nazi?
Yeah.
Everyone lines up. That's what I imagine it's like. Not so for you.
It is, except they're all very nice people.
Oh, I love it.
I know the soup Nazi, and I don't even watch Seinfeld.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Can I also say, back on the, I'm excited. I never get to talk to any Jewish people. I love it.
Let's go.
Haley Steinfeld. I never knew that I was starving till I tasted. Dude, Haley Steinfeld. Like like people always say to me, "Oh, you're an actor. When are we going to see you in Home and Away?" So yeah, whatever. And if someone said like, "Okay, let's say someone said to me, this is like my own personal fucking like dream, but if someone said to me, okay, dude, you just got to Hollywood, you're like famous Australian, you're killing it right now, and then you go to a party, you see your celebrity crush, who's there? I always say Haley Steinfeld, like she's Jewish as well, but she's like, Haley Steinfeld, you know Haley Steinfeld,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
Yeah.
I watched True Grit.
True Grit when she was younger,
Yep.
yeah.
The remake of True Grit.
Bro,
Yeah.
so hot. So hot.
Oof.
Yeah. I'd be like, I'd even convert for that woman, man. If she was like, I need you to be Jewish,
Yeah.
I'd be like, all right.
You'll enjoy this fact. You probably wouldn't need to.
Mm-hmm.
Because you mentioned, I don't know, your mother's got Judaism somewhere in the family line.
Well, we seem to suspect my father's mother, that side. Very dark eyes.
We're not just infiltrating the media, infiltrating Joel's family tree.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're not just infiltrating the media. This guy. We run this place. Just secretly.
How do you feel about Kanye?
Look, I was as disappointed as
You're a Kanye
the
fan?
next person.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
I think the entire Jewish community globally is just it makes us all much more appreciative of Jonah Hill.
Mm-hmm. I like Jonah Hill. I've
Because
always appreciated Jonah Hill.
he has, I think he's helped Kanye come right, so to speak.
Oh, really? I haven't.
Kanye, I believe, is now a fan because of Jonah Hill.
True.
Really?
So so throughout Kanye's escapade, Jonah Hill pulled him aside and said, "Pull your head out."
I don't know if Jonah Hill did anything, but Jonah he's pretty funny.
Like defended him a little way, or
I have no idea. I don't even know if they interacted.
True.
But I think he has in some way saved face for the Jewish community for the purposes of Kanye West.
True. The guy, I wouldn't call the guy a genius, but he makes good music.
He does.
I don't even think that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I see how people see
agree.
that.
Like,
I see how people see that, but I just hate anything he's created.
I don't like. Yeah, look, I'm trying to be open-minded, but I like "Run Away From Me, Baby, Run Away."
Yeah,
I like
and
that
I'm being
song.
too harsh saying the word hate. Like I don't hate.
No, that's a very strong word, Phil.
Yeah, I
Mm.
don't hate a good gold digger playing at a party, you know. But whatever. I don't appreciate him as a genius artist. I'm like, yeah, cool, man. You made a rap. Good, sick.
I'm gonna put Phil on the spot because, like, Phil and I being partners in this podcast, we need to make executive decisions, and you can cut this out of the editing as well. But we always want guests. I think guests is a big thing for us.
Guest is massive.
But would you consider being a regular? Because I think this is obviously a very formal, very informative podcast, but the rest of them are going to be But I'm enjoying the vibes, man. Like, it's just, yeah. Would you come on more?
I would be inclined to. 100%. I can't do. I can't.
You don't have to make him commit to anything.
Yeah,
You can just
look,
be
I'm
a
not-
regular guest.
Bring me
Yeah,
the contract.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Bro,
Right, we have a contract. ChatGPT.
here's the thing I'm saying. I'm saying, because Phil, you got to sit here and just watch Phil, right? Phil, this is one of those things where it's like you have a friend who's like really like a super athlete, and you're like, hey man, why don't you do this? And they're like, no, I'm gonna fucking work at Woolworths for the rest of my life or something. It's like, I'll watch Phil.
If you put it to the extreme, yeah, sure.
Obviously, like, Phil may not be the best, but when I watch him produce music, he'll be like, okay, what do we need? Boom, and like within like 15 minutes, he's already got like a 3-minute things like
There's
intro.
like 50 layers.
Yeah. And it's just like, bro, like it literally upsets me how talented you are in that. Like, I get it. Job, logistics, stress, pussy, all that shit. It's a difficult thing to be on top of, right?
things.
Not necessarily in that order.
Exactly. But
sometimes those orders shift.
But I'm trying to tell him we can capitalize on some shit, right? We could take Kilkenny, for instance, and say we could make a little jingle for Kilkenny. You want Kilkenny? It's hot at night. You want a cool beer? It's all right. You know, whatever, right? Send it to them. Just an email. Like, it doesn't have to be anything. Hey, guys, we made a little cool jingle. Hopefully you like it. We get an email back. We actually like this. Here's some money to produce it more. If it's good, we're going to make a commercial and use your jingle. Next minute, Kilkenny's stock fucking product goes up in Australia because they've got a cool jingle, and it's like, hey, shit, blah, blah. And then they might get a celebrity to fucking like a Hugo Weaving or like maybe Chris Hemsworth.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You'll
Fuck,
learn.
Yeah.
I'll
Maybe
learn.
Chris Hemsworth's in town and he's like, oh, you're going to pay me $2 million to do a commercial? All right. Kilkenny. Chris Hemsworth does a commercial with our fucking jingle on it. Next minute, we're getting paid to make jingles, right?
Next minute, Guinness is the poor man's.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is there's so much room to make serious money off this. And if we're doing a podcast and then we're known as the dudes who do a podcast who also made that jingle, and Kilkenny's sponsoring our podcast and we're getting paid for it, I'll fucking slip a contract in front of you. Ooh, there you go, my man. Sign that.
Conditionally, he has to watch Lord of the Rings first.
It's one of the clauses in the contract.
I said to him, Philip, we got to sit down with some popcorn, maybe like 6 kilos worth of chocolate and candy. Maybe some hot cocoa. Maybe some a soft drink. We just gotta watch that shit.
Can I put some liquor in my hot cocoa?
You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Thank you.
Can I take us on a tangent? Yeah,
please, dude. I am the master of tangents.
We're about
please,
tangents.
Make me look good. Please justify my tangents.
Popcorn as a movie food or a snack
is elite.
I do not like it.
Really?
Wow.
No. Bro.
I just don't understand. I understand the margin. Fantastic.
My thing is like if they sent me to a desert island and they said you can eat one food for the rest of your life, it's popcorn.
Oh shit!
Popcorn's my desert food.
We haven't even had popcorn since you've been here.
Phil, what would your desert island food be?
Oh my god, it's very difficult. But for my whole life, right?
So you get every source of nutrition from this one thing, even though it's not
original. Yeah,
you require nothing else.
It's the same as the $60 billion question. Yeah.
Yep.
My whole life, my go-to favorite feel-good food, spaghetti bolognese.
Yeah, he's told me that.
Because
his father made that shit from scratch.
Yeah, since I've been a little boy.
Walter Geet.
Walter Geet, yeah.
What about you? So this has like all the nutritional value.
We already know Adams.
No.
Vitamins.
No.
So it's got vitamins, minerals, protein, zinc, everything that you get from multiple foods. This one food you can just eat that for the rest of your life.
I can tell you.
The sandwiches.
No.
No,
not that. I would. It's not. It's a part of it. But I would say I don't need all that given information because this food does it anyway. Sourdough bread.
Oh. Gives you everything.
It's perfect. Gives you everything. It's got gluten, protein, carbohydrates.
Has that been experimented on? Can you survive on just sourdough bread?
There's a reason why it's so integral to every culture on earth. Bread. It's the best food.
Well, it's also because it's very cheap to make and it's very filling and rich in carbohydrate.
Modern society was built around bread.
And modern society.
Do you know the Romans?
Modern society is very quickly becoming more and more gluten intolerant. Also,
the worse the bread becomes, the worse society is going to get.
Do you know Rome, especially like in the UK, peasants from like the Middle Ages and shit, their diet consisted of bread, peas, salmon, beans, other things like that. Meat was a luxury. And Romans as well, especially gladiators, was mainly just bread. And Roman legions was mainly bread. So like the backbone of like conquest was bread.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, exactly. Because we suddenly figured out how to make something that was super cheap to make and super satiating.
Nutritious.
And you could just store it. Whereas meat was always a luxury because even in caveman days, you had to hunt the meat. And then you had to eat it quickly because it was going to go off.
It is much easier to hunt a loaf of bread.
Exactly. Precisely.
Grind that fucker up.
Especially if you're growing that shit in your backyard.
All these nomadic tribes were sitting there and they're like, okay, if we grow this grain, let's just stay here for a little bit, grow this grain and make this bread. And you've got a city.
Inventions,
Fuck
man.
yeah.
Inventions. Agriculture. There's so many inventions that's changed the way we live. What was the one you asked me the other day, Adam? What did people do before?
Ladders.
Before ladders.
And stairs in general. Where was the inspiration for stairs?
Did ladders come before stairs?
What?
Like in a house, and they were like, let's make a second story. Let's put a ladder here instead of stairs.
Here's what's interesting to me is that the Romans invented roads, straight roads, right? As if you weren't taking fucking roads in the first place. Like, I get it. Like, at some point, someone was like, let's take this grassy, like, mud sludge, like, because, like, horses would have trekked in the same.
Yeah,
like,
so
and
the
it rained.
idea...
So it's like, let's... So what they used to do was, like, I think they put, like, I think it was, like, sand and then water and then something on top and then to make actual roads.
Yeah.
And then, like, they made sewage and everything as well. Like, these things are like, why the fuck? Why did it take up until the Romans to decide to make this shit,
it's not like a one person going, oh, we should invent this. Like, for instance, the idea for a road basically invented itself. They were just like,
Precisely.
horses,
Everyone walks.
and we're going here, and we're going to go past your fence to not trot on your property, and we're going to do that several times, and suddenly this dirt path forms, and then they were like, oh, we've now invented carriages.
They would have also thought,
roads
it's
create
boggy,
themselves.
it's full of mire. We need to actually make it more compact so it's not going to damage the horse's legs, and it's going to be like,
No.
No,
No,
the wheel, though. Who
they're
invented the fucking wheel?
They're all sitting in a boardroom,
Yeah.
brainstorming for
listen.
the next big thing.
Yeah.
How
and
do
one-
we solve this issue?
One Roman stands up and he goes, roads, and they all start applauding.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
He's like, the John Cena theme song.
And the rest of them were like, is that a made-up word you just did there? Or what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
He's like, roads. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out.
There's a Family Guy cutaway in there somewhere.
Is it? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Oh, man. Inventions of human society.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that reminds me. I was going to go back to the Roman Empire being the longest empire ever to have existed. So when we talk about empires, right, what's today's version? Like, is America an empire?
America has its tendrils in a lot of places.
Because they're a giant superpower, right?
Yeah.
Like Rome was.
Mm.
And like, if Rome was the longest lasting empire, there could be an end to the American superpower.
Yeah, but like you got to look at it like this, like most Filipino people you meet, I'm from the Philippines. How are you doing? They talk like this because all the English they learn is from American teachers who come to the Philippines. That's why they talk like that. But there's a lot of Russians influence coming into the Philippines right now. So you may have in South Korea as well, right? You may have a level of influence from that country, but you still have your own means of doing things. I think the way the Romans did was like completely their influence.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think America has that level of influence.
So-
In some things, definitely, but in a lot of other things,
Well, especially in media and film, for instance, like everything we see is produced from the American filmmaking, like how they made film.
do you know what I want to do? So I signed up with a new agency recently, acting agency, a better agency than what I was at before. And the guy just said, like, what are your dreams, dude? Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to like make it to America and shit? And I said to him, no, I don't want to go to America. Look, down the track, if I managed to get like a big role and I got to fucking be in like a Marvel film or something, whatever, I'll take it. But I want to growing up in the, like, I didn't grow up in the 90s. I was an infant in the 90s. And my youth was in like the early 2000s. That's when I went to primary school for the first time and stuff. So I wasn't born in the 90s, but I definitely wasn't a 90s kid. I was an early 2000s kid.
But when we say 90s kid, we mean the kids born in the 90s,
Yeah.
right? Like all the
I was born in
nostalgic shit.
1992. My first year of primary school was 97 or 8. So
That was my first year of life.
there you go. So I was this.
Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, there you go. And here we are. So
Here we are drinking mead.
But I said I don't want to go to America until I've done something good for Australia. Like everyone's coming to Australia, Hollywood especially, to film stuff at the Gold Coast because it's cheaper to film here, and Australians
But
are
isn't that
notorious for having
Australians-
really good crews. We've got hardworking crews. Nobody's a prima donna. When they need to cast other people, they know they've got backbones like
Everyone's got deep voices.
Miranda Otto, yeah,
Everyone
deep voice,
speaks
exactly.
from the throat. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is like, why do we even need to sacrifice some of our really good talent when we can just build our own mini Hollywood here?
Isn't
right?
that happening because of very famous Australian actors? Like I know, for instance, Hemsworth has like the reason they filmed a lot of his films here is because Hemsworth like, nah, do it in Australia. Like he had a
Maybe.
big say in that,
I don't know,
bringing it all over here because for probably that exact reason. He's like,
Yeah,
no, I
yeah,
want
yeah.
the film industry to be cool here.
Yeah.
And that's why they were filming in Brisbane when
But
they were
that's the
filming
thing.
Marvel in
So
Thor.
they'd film Thor here, and that built a lot of jobs and infrastructure for Australia, but it was still an American production.
Right.
What I'm saying is,
You want to bring
I
the
want
production
American
here.
level productions, but all Australian.
Do you know why that's difficult? Because we have 25 million people and they have 350 million people.
Yeah, and that's not lost to me, and
Yeah.
that's difficult. But that's what I'm saying. If I can do something to assist in building that repertoire,
Yeah, big time.
that'd be awesome. So I want to make Australian stories, and the problem is, you're either going to do something that's Indigenous, which in my opinion is extremely boring, you know, Mr. Hongi
And it's been done.
went
Like
up the
there's
mountain.
plenty of movies.
Yeah. Or and then you've got local Australian stories. Like the most compelling you've got is like fucking Ned Kelly, and you've got a couple of like Underbelly have
It's
done
'cause
a lot
we're
of
young.
crime drama
It's
ones.
because we're really young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but when you look at the UK, for instance, the UK's got an extremely deep rooted history. But if you look at a lot of UK dramas, they're all like police crime dramas, and they're so good. If you go on Netflix and just type in UK crime, you can watch 5, and they're like miniseries, 6 episodes part series. They're fucking so good. And the cool thing about the UK is they keep that early 2000s like that old school like like that like old like spy. A really bad example, but like so I'd want to make I want to make like crazy good comedies and things like that.
But keep them
Keep
Australian.
them Australian. So I had an idea. Like I love that episode of Futurama, Snoo. Remember with the like? So I had an idea of like an Aussie dude. He's just living his life or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, I'm on a merchant vessel sailing, whatever." And he goes kind of like in Wonder Woman. He goes through a portal, some kind of like maybe he goes through the Bermuda Triangle. Comes through it. He's still on Earth, but he's in like a parallel kind of like a pocket. And there's an island there, and it's like Amazonian women, right? But not like Wonder Woman. I'm talking like snoo, like 8 foot tall women, right? And this Aussie dude's, it's kind of like what was that Jack Black film? Gulliver's Travels.
Gulliver's Travels.
You know, with the small people, but with Snoosu and his hair, and it's like a full comedy. Like I'm talking like a classic, like a Will Ferrell-esque comedy where he walks into the room and he's in chains. He's like, "Please, I don't know anything. I'm just a small." And he looks and there's just like a society of beautiful Amazonian women with giant breasts, and they're just like splashing each other, and they've got their own like, and he's just like, he's like drooling and shit. And then he has to like, and they're all fascinated by him because he's a man. Small man, what is this? And like, I don't know, maybe there's like, maybe fucks a couple of them, I don't know. But like, but here's the thing, like, I could make that purely Australian, and that could be a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
Like, and that could be successful, and then America could call me and be like, "Come to America, you're really good. We can, put you in a movie with Kevin Hart." And it's just like, he can come to us.
Yeah.
He'll play an American in an Australian film.
Yeah.
You know?
He'd probably do that.
Here's something for you, Joel. And I think it was loosely
See what I mean by tangents, dude?
loosely interpreted by Crocodile Dundee.
Mm-hmm.
So as we know, Australia is 122 years old as a federation.
I need to hear
Could
you.
you-
I need to hear you, Adam.
Could you imagine? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Could you imagine an Australian true blue bloke or whatever, like Crocodile Dundee, existing 300, 400 Roman times? Just imagine how that bloke would fit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Think about it.
Bro. I have a really nerdy, and please, like, I know I'm talking a lot, so if you're done with me talking, let's move on. Because
We got to hear Adam's. I need more information on Judaism.
We will.
Now that we're done with the Van Liters.
Yeah.
Are there refill options?
There's definitely refill options because
you want to hit us with the klug?
we may even split this. So let's hear Joel's, and we'll end this one, and we'll split to the next one.
So one time, maybe about 2 years ago, I had a dream where I had a hood over my face. I was walking with a donkey, and I had like an arsenal of weapons on me, right? It was like super nerdy loser, fucking anime loser nerd dream. Like, and it was like grassy fields and this like Greek looking thing above me. This is probably like 2 years ago. I was just like in the NT, just having his dream. I got to the top and this person said, "Oh, who are you?" And I had this conversation. Do you know in dreams you'll be talking to someone, next minute it like flicks and then you're in like a different area?
Yeah.
Like, where am I now? But you automatically know where you are somehow and you know the people around. Next minute I was fighting a Spartan. So I was in Sparta and I arrived in Sparta, and then somehow I managed to get an audience with whoever was in charge, and I got, and there was crowds around and they were watching, and I had my fists up and I was like fist fighting a fucking Spartan novitiate. And I was like, oh, and then I woke up and I was like, oh, I think I need to piss or something like that. But I remember I went back to bed and it sat with me for a while, and I was like, can you imagine going back in time? Can you imagine like I'm like not so much you, but like we're a bit older. Our joints and stuff may not be as strong as they used to
Please,
be.
Joel, come on.
But like I would love.
Phil drinks milk.
Yeah, you're really talking yourself into your own grave here.
Can you
Come
imagine?
on, man.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine they invented a time machine to go back in time, and then you get trained in the martial arts, BJJ, weapon skills, archery and shit. Maybe like 5 years of just training you, and then you get sent back in time, and they're like, be free. So you get sent back in time. Can you imagine like standing there at the Colosseum and all these like you're like dressed in like maybe modern day clothes and all the people behind you like you've seen the Colosseum half naked people, stinky peasants are like, can you imagine just standing there smelling like fine perfumes and just watching and the people and you've got sunnies on or something like what the who is this? Is this like a noble from a foreign country?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe even in the emperor's little box, you know, the emperor had his own little gazebo. Imagine he's just sitting there watching the game as a gladiator kills another gladiator and he looks over, he's like, who the fuck is that? Bring that person to me. And then you're just waiting. Maybe you're wearing like, because like colors like purple. Purple was a very difficult color to make in clothing. So that's why the emperor had it in like reds as well. Like the Roman Senate had red. Imagine you're wearing like a green or like a fucking fluorescent green. They're like, what the fuck? Who is he? Where's he from? They call you over. You've done your lessons like Jason Bourne style. So you're like, you speak Latin, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, yo, and then, or maybe you get put in the fucking gladiator arena and you just like show people up. And people are like, who is this person? You're like, I'm from the future, motherfucker. What's up?
And he says, we're not in 1985 anymore.
Yeah. So like, that was my dream was like, I was sent back in time with my knowledge and I fought a Spartan and then all these dreams came after that. So can you imagine a movie where a dude gets sent back in time and he just flexes on people?
Yeah,
he's like,
I see it.
Like he goes back in time and people have the bubonic plague and he just goes up to this like child, that sick child, and this woman's like, who are you? Stay away from my child. And he's like, sticks fucking penicillin in this kid and that kid survives. And then they think you're the fucking messiah, right?
Eat this blue cheese, kid. You will live.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, so Judaism. I don't know why I keep saying Judaism, right? There's a lot of questions we could ask, but the first thing on the top of my mind is, let's get through the stereotypes first. Jewish people may run Hollywood, but are they super prejudiced and super like, I could hire that person who's a really good actor, but I'm going to hire my Jewish friend's second cousin's twice removed nephew instead. My Jesse Eisen, whatever the fuck his name.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, Eisenberg, yeah. Who is a good actor?
He is. The Social Network was great.
He was. I hated him for that. When you hate a character in a movie, you know they're a good actor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you hate him. Like they've done the job well.
Yeah.
He played a good Zuckerberg, but like, look, even if it's true, there's no judgment. It's just let us know. What do you think?
I don't think there's much merit to it. In terms, are we talking Hollywood or in general?
Let's go Hollywood first, and then in general.
Hollywood, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll not to embrace another stereotype here, but they'll give the part to whoever's going to generate the most revenue, make the movie the most popular, or the TV show the most popular. That may happen to be a Haley Steinfeld.
Mm. That's my future wife we're talking about here.
It may not be, but yeah, in terms of general life, I would say that might not just be particular to or be peculiar to the Jewish community or any community in general. If you look at all the fancy private schools like the Eton in the UK, I'm sure if you had two applicants going for a job at some fancy finance company in London, and the person who was hiring went to Eton, and there's two applicants, one who did and one who didn't go to Eton, they'd probably pick the Eton old boy over the one who didn't go there purely on their sense of community.
The one who didn't go there, he was Jewish though.
That's anti-Semitic, Joel.
No. Oh, come on. No. Come on. No. What I'm saying is like, let's say that, no. I'm coming from the uneducated people who don't know anything and listen to Kanye West. Right?
I might say there is the idea. I think is nepotism in some way.
100%.
And I'd say that might be a thing in the Jewish community. I don't think it is very prevalent, but I think where it is prevalent, it's prevalent in every community of people. If you get me.
Here's the thing for me, and I'm not. We need to keep on your conversation. This is Joel's tangents. Joel's tangents. Hi. Here's the thing, right? So let's say for instance, you live in America, right? You live in a very white neighborhood. The only thing you've ever heard, and this is the media's fault. The only thing you ever heard of African American people is that they're thugs, they're criminals, they're rapists, they shoot guns, they drink alcohol, they deal drugs, right? Oh, God, I've lost my train of thought. Oh, fuck up, this is the worst. Yeah. So let's say the people who are enrolling the two, who are looking at the two, are predominantly Jewish. Despite the guy who being the old boy, would they go for the Jewish? Because, and this is where I was getting at with the African American thing, because only, like, let's say it's a full white school. They only, maybe, let's say this African American kid is like academic on steroids, like he's amazing, but they only know the history of African American people from all this crime and stuff. So they say, well, he's a really good student, but he might bring a lot of negative influence into this school. Where we've got a white kid where we know, well, white people society is very calm, they're collective, they come from a blue collar, white collar, all that stupid shit.
They prioritize, based on that history.
Do you think that probably would exist in some places, but not? It's not the MO of all.
I would say it would exist, 100%.
So I guess it would just depend on random people.
It would,
and it wouldn't reflect the entire Jewish culture.
No, it wouldn't. But
exactly. See, this is the thing. It all comes down to individual human people. Like it's all introspective. It's got nothing to, and this is the problem with humans, man. We pin one person's actions on the whole fucking, like the whole canvas.
Yeah.
All black people, all white people, all this, all that.
I know all about that, Joel. I'm German.
I know.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
You can't just point at me and say, "Look what you did."
Well, you didn't do anything.
Exactly.
And you should never feel guilty about what your ancestors did.
I don't,
No, I mean, not to say that it was your ancestors.
No, but like, sorry, yeah, but like, well, dude, like, my ancestors are like German, Scottish, Welsh, English. I don't know what the kind of fucked up shit they did. I probably had relatives who fought in the Crusades and fucking were commanded by whoever to go into a Saracen camp and butcher children and women. You know, like, I don't fucking know. Like, why should I feel guilty about that? That's not how I feel. Like,
well, you shouldn't.
No.
Exactly. So, please continue.
What are you continuing
I've got ADHD.
Can we refill the drinks?
Yes. Can we get more beer?
I think we just cut it there and then we...
Yeah, let's do
should
it.
we... Wait. Go ahead.
Wait, hang on. Look at the camera and do like a promo shot. There we go. Adam, love you, man.
There we go.
This is great.
So, this is creating some sort of vacuum at the bottom of this.
Yeah, all the time.
I think a part 2 would be good.
Yeah.
What do you think? You think a part 2?
Hi.
So I don't know.
Summer.
So I don't even know where we're up to and how we're going to end this because I need something to say that we're ending it.
Just do a star wipe.